22nd of May and it's snowing.
This is really Saskatoon country. Muhammad Ali.
He's got a heart made of yellow barley straw.
And old man Baugh took all the telegrams that came in because he was a CN agent. Telegrams, your son was missing or killed or whatever.
Well, your dad had a military medal from Dieppe, didn't he?
And the military medal would be the one in the upper left-hand corner is the one. And he actually won that at Dieppe for taking out a German gun post.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and going into a room with a bunch of veterans talking about the war, when they immediately kind of clammed up.
When you came?
When I walked in the room. And I even said, don't stop.
Yeah.
Keep going. And one guy said, no, the bad times we don't want to talk about, and the good times you're not nearly old enough to hear about. And so they shooed me out of the room, and I always kind of looked through the window at the door a little bit and saw them in there sort of reminiscing, but they didn't share, so that's funny, and they tended not to, I think.
Yeah.
Not very many of them would ever talk about it. Yeah, and be there, eh?
There's no comprehension of it. We can't imagine what it'd be like to lose friends on a daily basis.
Morning, cousin. There's Harv again, and there's Jim, and 6 of us that graduated from the nuns the same year. We all went over together. I went in training on purpose to go overseas. And then, of course, I knew a lot of the boys that graduated through Dundurn and Prince Albert, too. When I got over there, I met a lot of the ones that I worked with here. Cleaned the bed, took the mattresses out the air, washed down the bed, bathed the patients in bed. We didn't haul them off the bathtub, we give them a full bed bath. Gonorrhea and syphilis wards, some of them had 100 or more in each room. At night, I had 600 patients that I supervised. Oh, I better not tell that story.
Well, just leave the names out.
Well, anyhow, this guy that was in Regina, he had, I bathed him. Oh, he had rheumatoid arthritis. He had a lot of wintergreen ointment on him, and he had all stiffened up, and we rubbed him down with wintergreen oil, which stings like heck if it gets somewhere. And I bathed him, all except his privates, and so I said, well, are you going to finish your bath? Oh, no, you do it for me. I usually change the water before I let him do it, but this time I didn't. And it had a lot of wintergreen in it. He never asked me to bath his privates again. Well, he never forgot me. And till the day he died, he never forgot me.
I had a brother-in-law that was in the desert, and they got bombed on full moon nights. And my sister said it was years after the war that Bucky Graham, you know Bucky, he was squirrely anyway. But she said it was years afterwards that before he'd settle on a full moon, when the full moon was bright, and I guess moon would be bright, and it would just remind them of the desert and raids and whatever.
But they were sure jumpy. You could go around in the night and pass pills or anything. You woke them up before you got close enough for them not to hit you. Because if they heard a noise or anything, they'd come up fighting. One night I was walking around giving my medications, and I didn't bother. I found out this the hard way. Fist came, just missed my chin. I just felt it. I said, "Oh, sister, if you ever do that, get that close when you wake me up again." He was so upset. That was the time the buzz bombs were coming over, and a pub within I think it was about a half mile from the hospital blew up one night. Boy, did we heard it go over. I sure checked my patients that night to see if any of them would come up fighting. He went in at Sicily, right through Rome, and he either was driving a tank or a transport truck. And I mean, he was driving over mines and stuff like that. Every time it thundered or lightning, he'd want to crawl under the bed practically. And he couldn't understand why I was out looking out the windows and everything else. And it was so funny at our farmhouse out at Stoneybeard Bellepoint was 2-story, and of course the bedrooms were upstairs. And I had a little dog who hated thunder too, a little terrier. And he'd sit at the bottom of the step and whine, and Hara would sit in the bed and whine. And I never knew if I was supposed to be with my dog or my husband. They were both having a fit because it was thundering outdoors.
The Brits had tried to take Vimy Ridge and failed, and the French had tried and failed, and apparently the Canadians practiced and rehearsed, and they say, and this is again from what I've read, they say that it was the first time in the First World War that junior NCOs, down to the level of junior NCO, were given maps and given a complete plan of what they were going to do, and they were successful and very proud of it. I remember once being at a lodge meeting, and afterwards in the coffee time, the junior warden asked if anybody had anything to say, and this must have been in April, because this old man stood up, and he stood as straight as 6 o'clock, and he said, 45 years ago tonight, I stood on the top of Vimy Ridge with the Canadians, and we were kings of creation, and sat down. And you know, it's just stuck with me. I remember it so vividly and thinking, my God, you know.
We got a lot of boys back with their legs off and their arms off, and they're paralyzed from their chest down. At one time, I think I had 6 paraplegics and 8 amputees that I had to help to get ready to send home. And then I stayed at the hospital till the end of June, after the war ended, to look after all the soldiers that were in prison camps. Came back to our hospital until we had to get them fit enough to put on a ship to send home. Oh, emaciated, hardly able to walk, and we fed them with blood transfusions and intravenous's, and patched them up and sent them home.
I remember when my second brother, the second in the family, was shot down in Norway in 1940. And of course I would only be about 9 then, so I don't remember that very well. And he was taken prisoner and stayed in prison camp till the end of the war. But I very well remember when my dad came to get me from school to say the other brother was missing, and my dad was a tough, mentally and physically, a tough old guy. And I can still see the look on his face when he came to get me from school. I just didn't expect him to. This physically, mentally tough, cheerful old cuss. You didn't expect him to be that shook up. And I can still see him. I can still see the teacher, of course, say, your dad wants you. Well, I can still see the look, yeah.
This is Peter Pelche. This is my grandfather's brother. He was a veteran of the Second World War. He was a very well-respected man, and he settled here in the Fort Capel region. And seeing his picture amongst all the rest of the veterans and people who have been in service is just amazing. The recognition, I guess, for him being a Métis veteran is really nice.
Joe, who's an artist, but he is an artist, but he was a badass. John A. Addy, Regina. Bernard M. Edelman, Saskatoon. David R. Agnew, Weyburn. Harry G. Baxter, Moose Jaw. Walter S. Beal, Bethune. Alvin M. Beatty, Tisdale. David Levine, Swift Current. Raymond D. Lewis, Melford. Alan S. Light, Battleford. Philip J. Lindenbach, Regina. Frank D. Lindsay, Saskatoon. Earl Lloyd Newberg, Moose Jaw. Franklin C. Norman, Davidson. Truman Norton, Estevan. Thomas H. Proudlock, Kindersley. Lemuel E. Prowse, Bengoff. James J. Pruden, Big River. George W. Purdy, Wapella. Max E. Putnam, Watson. John M. Quinlan, Prince Albert. Clark E. Quickfall, Kindersley. Clarence Quinnell, Star City. Armand L. St. Pierre, Prince Albert. William G. Stanger, Indian Head. John W. Staples, Rosetown. Stuart A. Switzer, Wapella. Francis R. Simmons, Wilcox. Weston B. Stauble, Alsask. John A. Taylor, Birch Hills. William B. Taylor, Arcola. Donald D. M. Taylor, Regina. Robert L. Telfer, Humboldt. Leslie P. C. Temple, Grenfell. John O. Tebow, Big River. Donald Thomas, Fort Capel. Edward Thomas, Coppell. Max Thomas, Rock Glen. Joseph S. Yurkowski, Lanigan. Henry J. Zacharias, Herbert. Thaddeus J. Zadwarny, Ituna.
Morning, Donna. Oh, she's cool again, but it's sunny out. It's sunny out today, which is good. Not too windy either, so it'll be a good day today.
Do you have any thoughts on what you hope the weather will be like for Remembrance Day?
Well, we'll hope it's nice for the services anyways. I'd like to say thanks to all the veterans and all those involved in the military, armed forces, for what they've done over the years, for sure.
And you wish them good weather?
Oh yes. There's no fun standing out in the freezing cold or in the rain.
You look around these walls and the amount of people that there are to remember is really something from a small community. I guess there's as many pictures at Bob's yet that they haven't got a wall here to hang up.
Has he, well, I guess he still has got some.
Quite a lot.
And then, of course, you look at the ages of those kids.
Yeah.
There's the wall there of the ones that died during World War II. I think the oldest one on the wall is 24. They're all 18, 19, 20.
They didn't get much of a chance to live a life.
No, not at all.
These are the people that we know of who were killed during the Second World War. Most of these people have a lake, a river or stream or something named after them. So many things are not permanent. They change. But the rivers and the lakes probably will not change. And so they are more permanent than other things. Wing Commander Christopher Bartlett, Distinguished Flying Cross and Bar. Squadron Leader Christopher Bushell. Sergeant Edward Cooper. Quartermaster Sergeant Eddie James Hill. Trooper John William Reginald Huggins. Aircraftsman Second Class Roy Keith Irwin. Private Albert Kelly. Sergeant Ronald Percy Mann. Captain William Delbert Ormiston. Flying Officer Donald Orr. Flying Officer Daniel Dominique Danny Platana, Distinguished Flying Cross. Private Edward Patra. Flight Lieutenant William Lee Saunders. Flight Lieutenant Lloyd Hilbert Smith. Sergeant Gordon Leonard Spencer. Pilot Officer Peter Donald Graham Stewart. Pilot Officer John Warburton. Private Douglas W. Smith. Lance Corporal George Edward Slaney. Maurice Begley Slim Rogers. Flight Sergeant Alvin William Reimer. Rifleman Andrew Tate.